Hello everyone, I'm Little McGriddle and welcome back to Cuphead. No, not Cuphead. Cupid. It's similar, believe me, it looks similar. Sorry, that was a mistake. Welcome back to Cupid, and this is chapter 2. I don't know how long it is, but I imagine that it will be as long as the first one. These chapters seem quite long, and there's about 8 chapters, and there's 4 endings, which I just looked up. But let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. I mean, this game is awesome. Okay, don't get me wrong. And also, I'm sorry if I don't do voices. There's something wrong with my throat. I don't know what it is, but I'd rather not get it checked because I've been to the hospital far too many times last year. More than 5's enough. Anyway, moving on. It's funny, is it not? Rosa, they always leave you. Hey, that's not very such is the way of the world. The more you love, the more you lose. Oh, it seems like they'll stay forever, but they never do. I'm the only one who stays, my lovely Rose. My love is the only love you need. You were always so weak, always so loving to people who did not deserve it. I told you to get rid of her, didn't I? I told you to be wary. I knew it from the start, my Rose. She was nothing but oh, I can choose. Okay. I don't know, she led you astray. Catherine was a curse. She drove you to a love I warned you about. I knew she would just cause you pain. Wow. Okay. No, I'm glad you are back to me. I was so worried about you, my darling. She almost led you astray. Away from me. You know, that would have been a good thing. Trust in Mother, darling. I am just glad to have you back to myself. 'Cause Mother knows best. Your silence bothers me, child. She was important to me, Mother. I loved her. Mother only laughed as Rosa screamed out her pain. Oh, Rosa felt strong arms shake her awake. Oh, okay. Oh, Rosa. She opened her eyes and was hit by a strange sadness that crushed her. She was dazed for a moment. Why was she so sad? And then she remembered. Her best friend was gone. She was gone. Rosa, how are you feeling? Guillaume sat by her bed, a hand in hers. Rosa didn't realize she had been holding on to it tightly in her fitful sleep. She broke from his gasp and clutched her knees. Rosa? She remained silent. I came to check on you. You went into shock and lost consciousness. I can only imagine how hard it must have been for you to see her like that. His words echoed in her brain, yet she did not register much of their meaning. Rosa still refused to speak, and Guillaume fidgeted with his glove. The wake will take place as soon as possible, Rosa. I just wanted to let you know that she is being taken care of. He's hiding something. There was a slight tramp in Mother's voice. He wants to get rid of her body as soon as possible. Don't you see it, child? Tell me you're not falling for this. Rosa was tired. It was unsurprising to hear Mother say such things. She hated anyone who came close to Rosa's heart. Rosa didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to deal with anything right now. All she wanted to do was wallow in her loneliness. To curl up inside the hole Catherine had left behind and sleep. My child, tell me you see it. Remember the fear in Catherine's eyes? Whoa, wait, what happened to Catherine? Look at how unperturbed he is by Catherine's death. Oh, shut up, Mother. I don't know, what? Remember the fear in Catherine's... What? You haven't seen it, haven't you? She was mostly hostile, but sometimes when her sanity returned, she was afraid. Afraid of this man. How well do you even know him, child? I've known him for as long as I knew Catherine, Mother. He's a close friend. I didn't ask how long you've known him, but how well. Beyond the mask that he displays in public view, Something or other, I missed that. Do you even know any of his ambitions or secrets? He was always a private man, Mother. Think back, child. Isn't it curious how all his past relationships have ended in disaster? Everything he touches crumbles. It is not enough to accuse him of anything. You idiot! He is different. He does not belong. You have felt it too, haven't you? Rosa looked at Gilliam with new eyes now. A hint of doubt slithered out from behind her sadness. Oh, don't listen to Mother, Rosa. She's poisoning your mind. Rosa wanted someone to blame, a cask for all her regrets. Gilliam seemed like the perfect candidate, didn't he? I don't know. Yes, you're finally seeing it. Open your eyes, child. It made sense. Gilliam and Catherine's relationship began to peter off into coldness right before she died. Her mental instability only served to compound the fracture in the relationship. Perhaps Gilliam was tired of her and had her killed off for convenience? Wow, that's not cool. Rosa stared at the man beside her. He's not to be trusted, child. He is a demon. Gilliam returned Rosa's angry stare with a resolute look. I know you must hate me, Rosa. I am aware that I only aggravated Catherine's condition with my presence. I know the feeling when I am not wanted. He stood up, a hard yet kind look on his face. Just remember that I will always be here for you, as much as I was there for Catherine, even though she spat me out. Rosa bit her lip. When Catherine had refused to eat, it had been Gilliam who fed her and attended to her. Despite Catherine's hurling abuse at him, he had tried to care for the sick woman himself. Lies, all lies, keeping up appearances. Then what is it that he has done, Mother? Catherine committed suicide. Oh, jeez. It was not by his hand that she died. Are you just going to leave it at that? Look at his face and tell me you trust him wholeheartedly. Okay. I trust him wholeheartedly. Rosa tried to search for the answer in Gilliam's eyes, but as always his face betrayed only a few emotions. I don't know. Mother was screaming now. He killed her! I am sure he did, and you're letting him get away with it. Please, my head hurts. And you say you loved her. You never loved her, you selfish child. I've always known you were this selfish, just like your father's. Stop. You throw people away. Didn't you throw me away when I inconvenienced you? Admit it. You were secretly relieved when I died. What? No! Stop it! She screamed back at the last voice. Her mouth quivered. Gilliam stared at Rosa in shock. The outburst had accidentally come out loud. It pulled a plug that kept the tears from pouring out. Now her vision clouded, and she blinked them away again and again. She was not sobbing. She did not even realize her face was wet. Gilliam and Rosa stared at each other, both kindred to something. My fingers slipped. He knelt down by Rosa's bed and wiped her tears with his hand. He did not say anything while doing this, and Rosa stared blankly ahead. It almost stunned her how many tears a person's eyes could carry. Well, it can carry a lot. I loved her too, Rosa, he said after a while. I know what you're feeling. But she didn't know if it was her own or if Mother's anger was somehow influencing her, but her chest heaved. She balled up her fist so tightly that her fingernails hurt. Shut up. She spat, and the man recoiled at the uncharacteristic bitterness of her words. Catherine is afraid of you in her last days. You did something to her. I know it. She could feel Mother inside her head, building up her anger. He has to be punished. You are to blame. He has to atone. I know you are guilty. He must be punished. Gilliam stared at her, dumbfounded for a few seconds, but the man didn't try to appease her. He only stepped closer to Rosa and wrapped his arms around the hysterical girl. Aw, let go of me. I hate you. Let me go. But Gilliam didn't. If you need something to hate, then I'll accept your hate. But you must accept my comfort too. I need you too right now, Rosa. You are the only one who loved her as much as I did. Gilliam's words brought back Catherine in Rosa's mind. Almost at once the anger was replaced with a sadness so heavy she couldn't breathe. Why was she so angry again? She's focusing on anger instead of pain. It was easier. The real tears came, all for the loss of the girl they both loved. Tomorrow was not going to come. There was only right now, the loss, and two friends mourning a loved one. Rosa cried until she thought she wouldn't be able to stop, and Gilliam quietly held her. Slowly her weeping began to subside to sobs, and only then did he speak again. Stay in the chateau, Rosa. I know you are thinking of leaving now that Catherine is gone, but I can't let you wander the streets again. I will take care of you. It's what Catherine would have wanted. Like a spell being broken, these words had brought back her anger. Oh no, jeez. How could you possibly know what Catherine wants? She pushed his arms away from her. She's dead. Gilliam's mouth pursed as he stepped away. I want you to go. Please, leave me. Gilliam sighed and closed his eyes. I understand. He turned on his heels and left without another word. Ah, jeez, I'm sorry, Gilliam. I'm just being possessed by my mother who's dead. It's okay. It's not... Hours seemed like minutes to her, but she'd fall asleep and awaken in unfit intervals so often that she had lost the exact time. Awake, she would stare at a part of the wall with no coherent thoughts forming in her mind. One would think mornings should be spent in a depressive frenzy. All the reasons to grieve are yours, after all. She could wail now if she wanted. She could pull on her chair, curse the skies. She could reminisce of the past, admire the frailty of human lives. Unfortunately, it was something less poetic. Pain was simple. It was clean. It was a well-sharpened knife that sliced through the heart at one stroke. No blood, no mess. Empty. When tears were spent, there was just a hole where your heart had been. The hurt called out to you. It lingered. But since there was nothing there anymore, you confined with the pain in it, and you began. Rosa slept all day. The sun had gone down twice before she lifted from her bed. She stood up slowly, deliberately with a purpose. My child, you know I hurt you. Oh, my child, you know I hurt when you're hurt. Shut up. Just shut up, Mother. You're tearing me apart. Already a surge of power flowed through within her, fueled by her grief. The power filled her up, and there was so much emptiness inside that the energy seemed to saturate her whole body. Purpose was always a balm for grief. Mother, tell me what to do. Justice or retribution? Ha! Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Retribution? Start with his guilt, child. Uncover his lies. Crush his mask. He must pay for everything he has done. Mother? Rosa didn't speak, but she started to form the words in her mind, feeling them in her bones, giving life to every thought. She took a small knife and carved a symbol on her floor. It didn't seem much, a guilt spell. It didn't aim to punish it, only aimed to inform. She needed to know how much guilt the man carried and the source of such guilt. If the guilt was concrete and came from a direct action, then she would know Gilliam did something to Catherine. It had been a while since she had used magic. Oh, she can use magic? Oh my god, I love this story even more now. It used to be the only way she could protect herself from the world. Mother had taught her, and now Mother guided her as she cast her spell. She needed a possession of the man. Rosa opted for his voice, still fresh from memory. She focused on the last conversation they shared. If you need something to hate, I will take care of you. I need you. His words made Rosa feel distress and confusion. Always it was this way with him. The feeling wasn't foreign, it had been there for years. I will always be here for you. Ah! What the heck? What was that? Rosa felt a violent force upturn her stomach. It was that horrid lurch just before vomiting. You failed! The spell collapsed in her brain. Focus, idiot child, or you'll lose your chance. Rosa tried again. This time she focused on Gilliam's eyes. Cold, like flames of steel. Dark and fathomless. No grief except, perhaps, for the situation. No Catherine. No pain of loss. This didn't matter to her. Their relationship was dying anyway. Where was his guilt? Rosa dug deeper. She increased the chanting on her lips. No torment. No uncertainty. No guilt. Did the spell fail again? She searched for one more and found nothing. There was no guilt in Gilliam's eyes. She could stop the spell now, knowing that he was innocent. If the spell had worked, then Gilliam was blameless, but this absence was most distressing. Rosa desperately pushed her mind further, almost wishing there were traces hiding beyond her reach. Guilt should be present and a loss, no matter how little. Don't we blame ourselves for our own loss? Don't we hate ourselves and punish ourselves even if it wasn't our fault? It didn't have to be real, but we needed guilt to feel pain. But Gilliam didn't have a sliver of guilt. Ah, jeez, my eyes. The vicious pain took hold of her again, squeezing her stomach with murderous intent. The pain was so great, Rosa wasn't sure if the spell had failed or succeeded. Something is wrong. Ah, jeez, there it goes again. Before Rosa could agree with Mother, she felt a sharp pain in her throat. Like me right now. For one. Rosa clutched her neck. A sharp, jagged lump was blocking her breathing. She could feel its edges crawl up her windpipe, tearing the soft walls as it moved about. The pain did not stop. Oh my. Rosa fell to her knees and gagged. She thrashed about like a woman being strangled. Mother remained calm, unaffected by Rosa's distress. Rosa was about to expel whatever it was. Demons! Tears ran down her face. The horrible acidic taste coated her tongue. Finally, she opened her mouth and forced the vile thing out. Oh, jeez. Okay. What? She kept her eyes shut, afraid to look at whatever had come out of her. But the choking feeling gripped her, and she puked again. She spat after she vomited. Her spit felt heavy and thick in her mouth. It gathered around her knees in a growing pool. Rosa panted. Every breath was laced with pain. But the gruesome effect had finally stopped. She wiped the sweat on her forehead. Something on the floor reflected light. She struggled to comprehend what was in front of her. She reached out with her hand, and the prick of something sharp made her recoil. She tried again, this time seeing more clearly. Rosa picked them up with shaking hands. Needles. Ooh. Oh, is that what came out of her throat? Ah, that's gross. Oh boy. Needles. In her palms were a handful of long metal needles. Rosa examined them with a horrified kind of curiosity. She stuck one in her thumb and it drew blood. They were real. They had materialized in her throat while casting the spell on Gilliam. Rosa wiped her mouth. There was something wrong with him. Something potent and dark. Oh, so Gilliam isn't the good guy. Everything is wide in this game. Or could it be that she had merely botched the spell horribly? She had pushed her limits this time. She had gone too far. But still, a tugging concern was forming. It was as real as the metal needles in her hand. Rosa tried to stand up on her feet, but she was exhausted. Her knees failed her. She crumpled on the floor like a rag. We must get to the bottom of this. Are you quite all right, my darling? Now you see it too. There is a sinister force at work. Get up. We have a lot of work to do. We must find out what he is and stop him. Rosa stared at the needles in her hand. Who are you really, Gilliam? I thought he was a good guy. Guess not. Okay. Sounds good. Oh, boy. Hey, we're already on chapter 3. You know what, I think we have time for another chapter. We're going to keep going. This is getting pretty good. Rosa entered the room with a tray of pastries and a pot of tea. Her duties were finished, and she was allowed a bit of free time. She thought of accompanying Catherine for today's piano lesson. Kath, do you want some tea? The girl didn't look her way. She continued to chum out the bitter, melancholic sound from her piano. Rosa sighed, her shoulders slumped in defeat. She placed the food on the table. She sat on the stool beside the piano, twiddling her thumbs while her friend continued to stew in her foul mood. Is that a new composition? It sounds nice. Nowadays, you make a new piece every day. It's a shame they're all so sad. Catherine didn't reply to that, but when she spoke again, her words were bitter. I saw them again, those degenerate louts. No shame at all. Kath? Alright, consenting damn adults and all that. At least have the decency to close the door. Sometimes I dare say that they want to get caught. When I walked in on them this morning, eating each other's faces, they had this look on them. Whoa, 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 hold up there, Catherine. What, they were eating each other's faces? Is that her way of saying they were kissing each other vigorously? I don't know. Yikes. Like they were daring me to say something. Quoi? Do they want my applause? Very nice technique, sire. I would very much like the way you swap your spit with my sister. Great tongue action. Oh, boy. I don't know French. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Très merveilleux. And he even has the gall to speak of me. Be a dear and put them on the table, Catherine, he even said, like I am a soft-headed giggle-mug of a maid. He wanted me to get annoyed. I just know it. Well, sure I am. Catherine turned to the tea and pastry, stuffing the buttered bread into her mouth. Easy there. These damn things. These damn delicious things. Oh, I know, right? They're such good biscuits. You should try the tea. It's amazing. She said the last part angrily as she blamed her troubles on the food's relish. Don't take your anger out on food. Food is good. Food didn't do anything bad to you. Rosa giggled in spite of herself. Catherine wiped her mouth in mock anger. What are you laughing at, wench? It's almost comical to watch you eat when you're angry, Kath. You like the giant monsters that attack defenseless towns in horror books. Oh, yes? Catherine made sad tiny squeals and picked up another piece of bread. No, please, spare us! She adjusted her voice and boomed with a roar. The Catherinian monster of the deep doesn't know any mercy to anyone, even though it said show mercy, but I already went with it because I said the wrong words. She dropped it in her mouth and chewed it savagely. Yum! Annihilation is delicious with tea. The two girls giggled. Catherine's rare smile turned into a rueful laugh, and soon Rosa felt her mood turning somber again. What happened anyway? Aren't you annoyed by it too? Sister has changed ever since she started helping in that chateau. Now it's all Gilliam this, Gilliam that. As if she wasn't already married. Ugh. She doesn't even... Excuse me. There I go again. You know what? Keeping the thumbs away from the trackpad. Okay. I'm tired of running around picking fights with gossipers. She hasn't even visited home for a long time. Father misses her a lot. He always asks about her. Father had worked so hard all these years just to give us a comfortable life. Now he is sick, and all she cares about is that dastardly Marquis. Rosa shrugged. I am a little bit annoyed, but I guess I've gotten used to it. Their lives are their own, Kath. She didn't dare divulge more than Catherine, but it was partially true. I like Gilliam, he's a nice friend, but I love my sister. If they want to stay together, then why not fix this and have at it? But what irritates me to my damn snatch is the way they are with each other. Catherine recently found the use of expletives endearing in her speech. Rosa hoped it was a phase. They are miserable. Any half-wit can see that. Yes. I've told Emily, time and time again to smarten up. She's hurting a lot of people, including herself. As if she wouldn't listen to her 16-year-old brat of a sister, Even Gilliam is depressed, I can tell. Remember when he used to come and visit us here to have tea? Or when he used to have picnics in the afternoon? We used to run around chasing rodents in the garden. You ran around? We just watched you get dirty, actually. This is very true, you nitheads. Back then it used to be fun visiting the chateau. Nowadays, we barely even see him. He just stays in his bureau all day, brooding. Is this something adults subject themselves to, like a torture ritual? I really don't understand why two people who are clearly unhappy keep at it. Rosa did understand. At least some part of her did. She couldn't exactly explain how pain and love worked. All she knew was that it had something to do with an absurd, obsessive amount of hope. She felt Mother tugging at her mind. She loved Mother so much. Living with the Pyramids gave her ample comparison to her former life. I am so sorry. I'm trying to do... I am trying to do this visual novel playthrough justice. And as you can see, I am struggling because, this game seems like it is French, and there are a lot of French words in it. And I'm struggling because I don't fully understand the French language. And I'm having troubles pronouncing some of the words, so I am very sorry if I behave like an idiot. And yet Mother still gave her love and kept from her wanting. Was that crazy? Perhaps it was the only love she needed. Perhaps it was what she deserved. Rosa shook the thoughts off her mind and just shrugged. I know you were just worried about your sister, Kath. But they will figure it out. Humans learn. Look at you, all profound and such. You read any good books lately? Ooh, I have, actually. I've been reading Julia's Daughters. It's a great read. Just a riveting account of the ugly duckling and Baa Black Sheep. Ah, the classics. I don't know how you put up with it, though. I hate reading words. Catherine. Okay. In order to write, I have to learn how to read first. I want to write. Why would you want to do a dastardly thing like writing? Because writing is a perfect, very amazing art form. You can use it to write poems, you can write stories, and other stuff that you absolutely hate writing, but have to. Why would you want to hit some crazy strings until your fingers bleed? The two friends laughed again. I want to remember things. I want to write them down. But most of all, I want to feel the way you do when you play the piano, Kath. Oh? The way you look when you play. You are passion and bliss in musical form. It feels like love, like magic. You inspire me to do something fulfilling and grand. Well, I'm sure you will. Hey, why not write a play one day? Oh, let's do it. You've written an amazing play, and I shall provide the music. We'll travel around the country and perform. We'll make it lots and lots of money and gain lots of followers. We shall be known as the Parade Caravan of Wonders. Parade? Are you sure? Puns are the best, trust me. That sounds damn batty, Kathy. Ugh. From this day forward, nobody is allowed to call me Kathy ever again. The sound of a knock interrupted their giggles. Catherine, it's me. I need to discuss something important with you. Frustrated, Catherine pouted at the sound of her sister's voice. She turned back to her piano and began to pound a sarcastically happy tune. Rosa stood up to open the door. Hello, Rosa. Madame. She had seen little of the older Parade sister recently, and astounded her at how old she had begun to look. Her once radiant face looked tired and harrowed, almost crone-like. Under her eyes hung huge bags. Well, yeah, apparently that's unfortunate. That's how you'll look when you get older. And yet she still looked quite dignified, full of pride and pomp. There was extra rouge on her skin, and her demeanor was elegant. It was as if pride were her only source of nourishment these days. Do you mind giving Catherine and me a moment of privacy? Rosa gave a small bow. Of course not, madam. Rosa gathered her nursery books and squeezed Catherine's shoulder before stepping out of the room. Rosa entered the quiet room of the library. She was about to approach the table when she noticed Gilliam already occupying a seat. He was writing something in a book, somewhat immersed in the activity. Rosa stopped dead in her tracks. Just leave now while he's not looking, Joe. Just go in and ignore him. Just Just do it. Just go in. Why are you so nervous anyway? Just ignore him. He doesn't seem to notice you. Unfortunately, Gilliam lifted his head and saw her by the door. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to be here. You weren't supposed to see me. Oh, hello, Rosa. Rosa took a step back. Maybe it was best to walk away as if it were a mistake. But wouldn't that be rude? He had already seen her after all. But she had never been alone with him. It was just too awkward. Well, why not just go in? It was going to be fine. They had conversed normally before. Yet that was because Catherine had been around to disperse her awkwardness. Now I look like an idiot. Okay, Zach, I don't care what you're playing right now. That's cool that you're playing Don't Starve Together. Gillian watched her pace in front of the door in amusement. Rosa decided to go in. She had already embarrassed herself enough anyway. There was little left to lose. Besides, there was nowhere else to go in this big house. She had already gotten lost, and it's always much to the annoyance of the maitre d'. The library was her favorite place. If she stayed quietly in one corner, Rosa was sure they wouldn't bother each other. She took a seat at the farthest corner of the table and opened her book. Oh no, he's actually standing up and walking over. Gilliam! Seriously? Why, man? No, you horrible man, just sit over there while I sit over here. But Gilliam was already beside her, peeking at what she was reading. A cold sweat spread across her scalp. Is that what that said? Rosa, that book. Rosa began to chatter nervously. I know it's a children's book. Sire, I am teaching myself to read. I know most commoners don't really bother, but I want to learn. So please don't laugh or mock me. Gilliam pointed to the book. That's awkward. It is upside down. Rosa stared at it. The ducks in the picture had their feet up in the air. Rosa squirmed, feeling the heat of her cheeks. She couldn't think of anything more embarrassing. I'm sorry. Gilliam's face lost its cheer. What do you need my forgiveness for? Rosa looked up at Gilliam. His eyes lacked a gentle glint they usually had. It was such a subtle change, something felt rather than observed. She thought he would reprimand her further. His face certainly looked like it. Instead, he sat down beside Rosa, drumming his fingers on his cheek while he watched her wordlessly. Well, weren't you going to read? What was wrong with him today? He didn't seem like himself. Had he eaten something bad? The aura he exuded was not his usual friendly warmth. Yet it wasn't particularly wicked. The look on his face just read slightly and eternally miffed. Rosa turned the book upright and read the words out loud. Once you, that is you with the short sound. It is pronounced like this. Gilliam made the sound, his face still in his lazy stare. Rosa nodded and continued. Her nerves were frazzled, but she was actually at ease in his presence. She felt like a child being taught by their parent. The parent was strict, but still caring. And the child was jumpy, but eager to learn and please. Most of all, he would not hurt her for her mistakes. Rosa was almost sure. There lived, the past tense of live. Why do we change it? It is a rule of grammar that... Grammar? Gilliam narrowed his eyes at her. Do you even know your alphabet? Rosa shook her head. You should start there. Gilliam rose from his chair and disappeared amongst the shelves. He left behind an old thick book covered in green felt. This was what he had been writing in earlier. It looked tattered and worn. The pages laid flat on the sides so that the book didn't close properly. Rosa reached out to peek at the cover one. You are not to touch that. Rosa's whole body froze at the sound of Gilliam's warning. Gilliam's stare followed her, even as she whispered numerous apologies under her breath. I'm sorry. Gilliam just rolled his eyes. You are always seeking forgiveness for everything. Am I? Oh, his hand struck the table in front of Rosa. In the quiet library, the sound rang uncomfortably in her ear. When she looked up, Gilliam's face was looming separately above hers. Severely. Sorry. He moved closer to her, his eyes fixed on her intensely. Rosa's mouth hung open. She struggled to say something, but her wits were like the burning ends of a matchstick. Before she could compose herself, she felt Gilliam's hand lift her chin. Rosa's heart thumped loudly inside her chest. Please, don't. Not you too. She felt his breath on her face, and her heart sank into despair. She shut her eye and prepared herself for the worst, like she always did and she felt her face being turned from side to side. She opened her eye to see Gilliam studying her face like a textbook. "Ah, man, I thought they were gonna share a tender kiss. Well, nope. You are fairly attractive, girl. You're good with your words. Very good. Alright, why do you carry yourself as if it is a slight?" He lifted the hair that hid her damaged eye. Rosa clenched her teeth. "Is it because you were hurt before?" He said it so matter-of-factly, like he was stating that the sky was blue. Rosa recoiled from his touch. "No, I did that to myself. I wasn't talking about your eye." He placed a book on the table. It was a thin pamphlet filled with letters. There were lines on the book that instructed the user to trace the letters with their quill. Rosa wanted to focus on it, but she could feel the truth in the Marquis's words stinging to her. "It was the way you went limp when I touched you. Next time, I advise you to fight back. If you don't want to be touched, then you don't have to be. That's right, you girl, you can defend yourself. No matter what happened in the past, you're still strong and you can overcome that." I don't want to think about what might have happened to her. It's just awful. Do you understand this? But I am weak. Says who? His eyes were humorless. The world cares not for people who think of themselves as victims, Rosa. If you need power, then be powerful. To have it, it is necessary to crush things along the way. Rosa flinched under the weight of his stare. She realized that the polite and courteous Gilliam was but a facet. It was still him, but it was nothing but an oil portrait of an artwork of his devising. Synthetic, aloof, and irrelevant, it couldn't capture his essence in a few human strokes. Suddenly, Rosa realized he was powerful. "Who are you?" she caught herself before saying it aloud. "You are not Gilliam." And yet, he spoke to her as if he knew what it was like to hurt and to fear. "If you don't start acting like your own self, then people will not hesitate to take everything." He laid out the rest of the books he had brought out. One was an activity book for children. It had a picture of a child holding an apple with an arrow stuck in it. Another was a book of limericks. Ah, limericks! The other two were thicker books that intimidated her. Wait, hold on. What are limericks? Dude, I gotta search that up. I'm so sorry. That is beyond me. Oh, pardon my absence from the game. I'm so sorry. No. Oh! Here we go. 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 Ah! Yeah, okay, that makes sense. A humorous, frequently bawdy verse of 3 long and 2 short lines. Rhyming. Popularized by Edward Lear. Fascinating. Okay, moving on. She would come to know them as Hamlet and Paradise Lost. Oh, Hamlet. Good one, yes. But the one that caught her eye was an ornately designed book. It had a beautiful red jacket with delicate gold trimmings lining the corners. The gods and goddesses of Roman mythology. I have a fascination more with the Greek mythology. This would be her favorite book, her treasure, and she knew it like love at first sight. These books are yours. Take them with you. Read the thin ones first and then gradually build your vocabulary with the thicker ones. Rosa ran her hands over the skin of the red book. She opened the covers gingerly, as if carefully unwrapping a present. Thank you. No thanks needed. I simply showed you some books from a portion of the library you were unaware of. You are still so generous, even if you were like this. Like what? That. What? Somewhat irritable? Gilliam didn't reply, leaving an awkward silence lingering between them. Then he gave a giant laugh that made Rosa jump out of her skin. I do look damn irritable, don't I? Why? Is it because of Emily? Gilliam's eyes drifted away. No. I've always been, you just pointed it out. But you are not usually like this, especially with Catherine and the townspeople. I find it easy to adapt to people, especially to the ones I like. Gilliam looked at Rosa if he had just become aware of her presence. Makes me wonder why I am so stern with you. I'm sorry. Rosa shook her head. I somehow prefer this side of you. Gilliam cocked his head to the side. He brought out the green book that Rosa noticed earlier. This is called a journal. When you learn to write, start one. What is it? Something you can use to remember yourself when you've forgotten. Does it work? It used to. Nowadays, not anymore. Oh, the act itself is the only thing I remember now. Let's start with your vowels. Oh, shit. Oh, gosh. Okay. A scream pierced the hallways of the chateau. It was Catherine. Gilliam sprinted to the door with Rosa not far behind. Uh-oh. Oh, gosh. What is this? What's going on? Hey. Hey. Come on now. Oh, I had to. Okay, that was me. Back in the piano room, Catherine took a shaky step towards her sister. She wasn't moving at all. I didn't. It was an accident. Emily? She was overcome with the urge to approach her sister and shake her awake. Make sure she was okay, but it was a nasty fall. Emily? Catherine saw the way her sister's head snapped back as it collided with the sharp corner of the piano. Oh, I'm glad I have the mature filter on. She watched it all like a series of photographs in her head. She had to check on her, but her feet refused to move. Instead, she began to retreat into a corner. She didn't even notice her legs were moving until her forehead touched the wall. She didn't want to turn around. Her sister was on the floor. Her eyes were still open and blinking. It was an accident. It was nothing but an accident. Was it? She pushed first. She got really scary. She strangled me. Oh, what? That's absurd. Are you sure? Would she do that? I don't know. I think she did. Catherine touched her throat. It felt fine. That peary-eyed girl, Emily, is it? She really believes you just because the Marquis took her in, that he's interested in her. Well, she's obsessed with the master. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Wasn't her mother a bit, not right in the head? It probably runs in the family. Emily had looked mad. Her eyes had burned with malice for her as she had closed her fingers around Catherine's neck, but she couldn't remember if they had really happened. Sister was always kind to her. She would never hurt her, even when they got into fights. Sister loved her. Oh boy. Am I turning mad? I have the blood of a mad woman. Am I going to end up like her? I only told her the truth. Gilliam doesn't care for her, and she doesn't even care for him that much either. It was all just chaff, their relationship. No sense trying to make everyone else miserable too. She called me jealous. And a bitch. She had never called me a bitch. She said they have decided to send me away. My lessons sent home. The piano replaced. It was for my own good, she said. I don't have to travel here all the time. I can concentrate on my other endeavors. I can make new friends. But I know she just doesn't want me near the chateau or Gilliam. She hates it when I catch her with him. Perhaps this morning was the last straw. She hates it, but also she smirks at me when I see them, like she basks in it. I think I might hate her. That's not good. Catherine's thoughts ran through her head like a storm. They poured out of her aimlessly. I wonder if the piano was broken. Am I going to pay for it? What will become of us without Sister's wages? What of Father's medicine? What of my dreams? Sister can't be dead. Sister can't be dead. Catherine brought her fingers to her lips and nibbled on her thumb. She didn't notice this. Her mind was preoccupied. She was in the corner of the wall, biting her fingers. It was a tiny comfort in a rapidly collapsing world. Gilliam opened the door and found Emily lying on the floor. An ugly gash broke the skin of her forehead. Facing the wall was Catherine, shivering like a leaf and viciously devouring one of her fingernails. He approached her cautiously. Catherine. Rosa was out of breath, but was still able to let out a gasp at the scene. Emily's lifeless eyes stared up at nothing while Catherine pressed herself into a corner. What had happened after she had left? Rosa, will you call for help, please? See that someone checks on Emily. Rosa did as she was told, but what she really wanted to do was hug Catherine herself. Gilliam took a small step towards her. He called out her name slowly, coaxingly. Catherine turned her head, her thumb still on her lower lip. It was an accident, I swear. Of course it was, Catherine. Of course it was. She pushed me first. She wanted me sent away. She wanted me gone. You can tell me about it later. Let me take you away from this room. What have I done? Catherine fell to her knees and wept. Large sobs sucked the air out of her. She felt like drowning, like trying to keep herself afloat in between sobs. Every exhale was a squeezing pain in her lungs. She felt Gilliam's arms wrap around her. What have I done? What have I done? You didn't do anything, ma chérie. This is not your fault. There was a bitter bulge building up in her throat, and she felt that no amount of crying could push it back down. What am I going to do? Your father is... Sister, I am so scared. Gilliam's arms wound tighter around her, and she clutched onto his warmth in this vast sea of fear. You don't have to be. I will always be by your side. Catherine, I will take care of you and your father, all right? You don't have to worry about your future. Her tears soaked the shirt through, but the squeezing in her chest felt less painful. Why? Why do you do this? Why do you care so much for me? Gilliam's brows furrowed as if confused as she even asked. I just do. It was a boldly stated fact, as if painfully obvious, as if Catherine was a fool for not knowing it. It made Catherine's heart expand in her ribs. When she looked back, she would recall this as the moment she fell in love with him. The look in his eyes was reassuring and strong. She wasn't alone. She was going to be all right. Let's get you away from here. He supported her arms and stood her up, carefully to block the view of her sister from her eyes. He led her to the door. Catherine hated how fast her relief came. She was still drenched in sorrow at her sister's death. Her father would not take well to the news, especially in his health. Was she all right? But she was all right, and she hated it. Rosa was with her. She didn't have to leave her piano, her dreams, him. Nothing had to change. And most importantly, she had hated the voice that came whispering in her head over and over again. Thank goodness she's dead. Thank goodness. Okay, yeah, sure. Alright. The first candle is lit. This candle is storage. The love for familiars. The cleanest love. Rosa stared at the blue candle glowing in her hand as she chanted her spell. Trust is the veil that conceals and deceives. Trick his eyes and his heart with the warmth from this candle's flame. A bond of blood-like kin will be forged. Weave this trust so his tongue will yield to what is sought. Oh no. Rosa stood by Catherine's tomb, nursing memories of her. The soft wind lightly blew her hair. It reminded her of Catherine and her playful ways. Tears sprouted from her eye. Even the wind. Console her. I'm not going to scold her, because she is in a lot of doing. I am always here, my love. Loss will always hurt. But you love Mother the best, don't you? Yes, Mother. And you are going to be fine. I will never leave you like Catherine did. Rosa. Gilliam's soft voice came from behind. Rosa glanced at him in acknowledgement. He stood quietly beside her for a few moments, but ventured to speak. Have you thought about my offer? My house is always open for you, remember that. I'm sorry for my outburst back then. It's nothing. The wind played around her feet, and Rosa pictured Catherine as part of the breeze, playful and free. She was free from the pain and confusion that had plagued her in the last days. They stood beside each other in solemn reverence. Finally, Rosa broke the silence. She was my family. I was in pain before she came along. I didn't know any better. She gave me hope. She was bright like a flame. When I close my eyes, I can still see the imprint of her light in the darkness. I can feel her warmth. A star. They didn't speak again for some time. Gilliam cleared his throat. I was an orphan too, much like you. I know what it feels like to lose too much. I wandered for a long time before I found anything to live for. Were you alone? Sometimes. Always. Rosa nodded. Did you have family? Gilliam shifted uncomfortably. No, they left me behind. I never knew them. Much of my memory of it is blurred. I was taken by kind people once before, but Gilliam sighed, and Rosa observed a certain disquiet in him. I didn't belong. But you have no difficulty mingling with people. I think of that as a necessity rather than a preference. Whew. But either way, it can be quite tiresome after a while. Things don't last. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I am making the mood worse. I'm sorry. I don't mind. Gilliam had never opened up to her about his past before, and it worried Rosa how little she actually knew about him. Anyway, would you like to go around town? I'd very much like to take you someplace more cheery. How about your favorite spot? Oh, their favorite spot. Ow, that's what she said. My bad. Gilliam smiled with understanding. The pair traveled uphill at the edge of town. There the view overlooked the quaint village. The sunset painted everything in the pink glow of dusk of endings. It is always so beautiful here. They used to spend time in this grassy knoll, the three of them. It was their own little hideaway. Memories of the past crept up on every... I am having trouble with that sentence. The ghosts of laughter echoed in the wind. Rosa touched the trunk of the small tree they had carved their names on. So many fond memories. Rosa, I want you to have this. Gilliam took Rosa's hand and placed an item in her palm. It was a simple silver locket. She looked up at him questioningly. I have had that for as long as I can remember. One of my remembrances of the past. I can't take this. You must. You need it far more than I do. But it's old and the locket doesn't even open anymore. I don't know why I held onto it for so long. I can't even remember how I came to have it. But it comforts me. Maybe it will have the same effect for you. This is your treasure, Gilliam. It feels wrong to take it. On the contrary, I believe you must have it. Call it a hunch or a feeling, an urge on my part. I am not good with expressing sorrow or even giving comfort, but I want to do something, at least, for you. He closed his hand over hers, affirming the gift. It's yours. Please take it. You are wrong if you think I am letting you stay in the cast simply for Catherine's sake. I do it of my own accord. Let me do this for you, Rosa. We have been friends for quite a while. If you need to leave, at least stay until you feel ready to go. All right, but I will continue working in your household for my lodging. You don't have to do that. I can raise your status to a lady. You can read and write now, and very well. I'm sure you will be more comfortable in a higher position. I have no need for a higher position. I just free access to your library. You have come a long way from the shy girl back then, Rosa. Watching you grow has been a pleasure. Yes, the library is yours. They were quiet for a while, only conversing through looks, smiles, and tiny laughs. Sighs. They were laughing, they were sighing. Rosa realized that she hadn't been holding on to Gilliam's hand all that time. She had been holding his hand. I'm so sorry. She broke off from his hold, rather embarrassed. We should get back. You're right, it's getting quite late. Gilliam walked over to the carriage and get it ready. Excellent, child. Being a maid in his household will give you free access to the rooms. He trusts you completely. It seems that the candle worked. I guess so. Rosa looked at the silver necklace in her hand. She fiddled with it, trying to open the lock. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. I loathe that thing. I don't wish to accept any gift from that man. I wish you hadn't taken it. In any case, just leave it alone. Yes, Mother. Rosa slipped the necklace into her coat's pocket. The spell started its effect in stages, gradually uncovering his true face. Fondness first, then trust. Familiarity. Rosa sighed. But was the spell necessary at all? Did she really have that with Gilliam? Rosa bit her lip, remembering the warmth of his hand. They had known each other for a long time. It was rather comforting to have someone to mourn with. However, Rosa did find it strange that Gilliam rarely ever mentioned Catherine anymore. It was as if He was shedding her off like skin. Again, the pain in her throat resurfaced. The memory of the needles made her stomach lurch. Since her friend had died, the Marquis had begun spending all his hours locked in his office. He barely showed himself socially, rarely even attended meals. Oh no, that's terrible. But they were casting a powerful spell, something that might harm Gilliam. What if he was, after all, innocent? She had years of good memories with him. What was she even expecting to find out? Exactly how could she live with the guilt of 2 dead friends? Rosa sighed. She cared for him. Despite all the suspicion, she knew that much. But Mother was adamant. 3 candles for 3 loves. A fitting curse for a man who frolics in love's domain. Storage, the love for familiars. Philia, the love for friends. And Eros, the love for lust. Oh, we all know oh boy. Open his heart with storage. Unmask him with Philia. Strike him down with Eros. Really? Yes, Rosa kept a 4th candle, one she had named Agape. Unconditional love. She didn't know whether she would ever use it. Mother, of course, would object. But just in case Eros successfully struck Gilliam, she wished to light Agape. At least give him peace before. Rosa walked toward Gilliam, a pang of anxiousness biting at her. Rise, my daughter, the work lays ahead. To bring him down, we must find his weakness, then we attack. Revenge will be sweet, my dear daughter. Do it for Mother. I'd rather not do it for Mother. Ah, Chapter 4, Metamorphosis. But we are going to leave it at that. We are not going to continue while the 2nd candle is lit. But we're going to find out what happens when the 2nd candle is lit in the next episode, because I am going to leave this episode here. I do hope you enjoyed this. This is the 2nd episode of Cupid. I'm really enjoying this. This is like, of all the visual novels or choose your own adventure style kind of games that I really am interested in, this has been the most interesting one that I've played. I absolutely love it. I don't know about, I mean, it might not be for everyone. Excuse me. But there might be a few people who like it. Just as much as I do, hopefully. Because I'm really enjoying this and I'm looking forward to doing the next episode. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that button down below. And like always, I will catch you all in the next video. Stay awesome. Bye.